Have you ever wondered what helps a woman stay strong through life's challenges, especially when health becomes a growing concern? Imagine her rising gracefully from the floor without any assistance, a smile on her face and confidence in every step. What gives her that strength and resilience? This story will take you into a world where mobility, grip strength, and deep sleep are the superpowers that protect her overall health. And don't forget, this journey also holds secrets and strategies for maintaining independence and social connection, something we can all learn from. So before you settle in, take a moment to watch this video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy what I'm doing here. Get ready, because this story isn't just about one woman, it's about how all of us can live meaningfully and healthily as we enter the golden years of life. The beginning of Jane's new journey. As she turned 65, Jane, an American woman living alone in her charming little house, realized that life was presenting her with a new opportunity. After many years of being a mother, taking care of her family, and building her career, now that her children had grown and left the nest, she felt the need to rediscover herself. This was not just a new phase in her life, but also a journey of exploring health and independence. Every Saturday morning, the bright golden sunlight streamed through the windows, and Jane woke up feeling energized. She decided that time was precious and should not be wasted on negative thoughts or unnecessary worries. Now is the time for me to live more positively, she told herself. Jane began to meditate each morning, spending a few minutes in silence to reflect on the things she was grateful for. She thought about her health, her close friends, and the joyful things she still wanted to do in life. In this moment of stillness, she felt the changes in her body and mind. She understood that health was not just a nice thing to have, but also a foundation for building new dreams and aspirations. I've spent too much time on others over the years, she thought. Now it's time for me to take care of myself. Afternoon tea with friends or strolls around the neighborhood became the most enjoyable activities in her schedule. It was during these times that she began to embrace change, share funny stories, and laugh with her close friends. She found excitement in participating in yoga classes at a community center near her home. Jane realized that maintaining her mobility and flexibility was crucial not only to keep her body healthy, but also to feel more confident in her daily life. "I am not just a mother, a wife, I am Jane, a strong woman," she reminded herself. And then, every day was a new opportunity for Jane. She enrolled in a cooking class to learn how to prepare healthy meals. Not only did she learn new recipes, but she also found joy in preparing meals for herself, combining fresh and nutritious ingredients. As a result, Jane also became more conscious of her nutrition, which not only boosted her health, but also brought her a deep sense of satisfaction. All these experiences became an integral part of Jane's life. She began to see this journey as an adventure, an opportunity to discover herself and connect with the world around her. This journey was not just about maintaining health, but about living truly meaningfully and fully. This life is indeed a gift, and I decide to unwrap each gift one by one, Jane told herself, filled with determination. She knew that the road ahead might have many challenges, but with a positive mindset and plenty of energy, she was ready to embrace it all: mobility and physical strength. As Jane continued her journey into this new phase of life, she quickly recognized that her physical strength and mobility were crucial elements in maintaining her independence. Each day began with the same invigorating sunlight filtering through her curtains, inviting her to start anew. Jane understood that the best way to enjoy her freedom was to feel physically capable and agile. She made it a priority to incorporate a consistent exercise routine into her life. In the mornings, Jane devoted time to stretching exercises. She found a series of gentle yoga poses online, and following along with the soothing voice of the instructor made her feel embraced by calmness and focus. As she moved through each pose, Jane could feel her body welcoming the gentle stretches. "I can feel my muscles waking up after a long slumber," she thought with a smile, reveling in the sense of renewal. However, Jane understood that mobility was not just about flexibility. It was also about strength. One afternoon, she visited a local fitness center where she met a trainer named Mark, who specialized in working with older adults. Mark's warm smile and encouraging demeanor put her at ease, and he was thrilled to show her some basic strength training exercises. Jane couldn't help but feel a kid-like excitement bubbling within her as she picked up her first light weights. "Can you believe I'm lifting weights at my age?" she mused. The experience was thrilling. With each lift, she felt more empowered, each dumbbell becoming a symbol of her commitment to herself and her health. Mark advised her not to rush. Gradual progress was key. After a few sessions, Jane noticed small but significant improvements. She could lift heavier weights and had more energy throughout her day. On the weekends, Jane made it a point to step outside going for walks around the local park. The vibrant hues of flowers blooming in the spring filled her heart with joy. As she ambled along the path, she'd often observe others around her young family's kids playing and fellow seniors enjoying their daily strolls. There was a sense of community in the air, and Jane felt blessed to be a part of it. One day, during one of her walks, she decided to challenge herself. Walking briskly, she set a target distance, and to her delight, she exceeded it. The adrenaline rush was exhilarating, and it motivated her to keep setting new goals. She found that each little achievement, whether lifting a heavier weight or walking a further distance, filled her with a sense of accomplishment. One evening, while relaxing on her porch with a cup of herbal tea, Jane reflected on her journey. She thought about how her ability to stand up from a low chair without assistance had become a point of pride for her. It was more than mere mobility. It was a reflection of her commitment to herself. "If I can do this," she mused, "imagine what else I can achieve." Jane also made it a point to include balance exercises in her routine, knowing that maintaining stability was essential as she aged. She discovered fun ways to practice balance, from standing on one leg while brushing her teeth to trying yoga poses that challenged her equilibrium. These little adjustments, she learned, had a significant impact on her confidence and physical stability. As her strength grew, so did her independence. Jane relished the feeling of being able to do things for herself with ease. Simple tasks like gardening or carrying groceries became reminders of how far she had come. She could feel the tightness of her muscles transform into strength, and it invigorated her spirit. "I am my own anchor," Jane declared to herself, filled with a sense of purpose. And so Jane embraced each day, knowing that her body was a vessel that could carry her through this exciting chapter of life. Every drop of sweat, every ache after a workout was a testament to her resilience. She was not merely surviving. She was thriving, continually pushing the boundaries of what was possible as she danced gracefully through her 65th year. Sleep, the treasure trove of health. As Jane thrived in her newfound physical activities, she soon realized that one key element was missing from her health equation: sleep. It became evident to her that no matter how strong and mobile she became, good health needed rest and recovery. She began to explore the importance of sleep and how it impacts overall well-being, especially as one aged. One evening, while reading an article about the benefits of sleep, Jane was startled to learn that many older adults struggle with sleep issues. Her heart went out to those who faced sleepless nights, and she felt fortunate that she had always prioritized a decent rest schedule. Yet she knew there was always room for improvement, and she wanted to ensure that her sleep was of the highest quality. Determined to enhance her nighttime routine, Jane decided to make a few changes. First, she set a regular sleep schedule, going to bed and waking up at the same time each day, even on weekends. "Consistency is key," she assured herself as she set her alarm for a prompt wake-up time every morning. To create a serene sleeping environment, Jane made adjustments to her bedroom. She invested in blackout curtains, ensuring that no light penetrated her sanctuary during the night. She also purchased a comfortable mattress and soft, breathable sheets in soothing colors. "This is where I recharge," she thought as she surveyed her cozy space. However, she understood that her activity levels during the day would significantly impact her sleep quality. To help her wind down each evening, Jane established a calming pre-sleep routine. She began engaging in gentle stretching exercises before bed, a simple way to relieve any tension built up during the day. With soft music playing in the background, she inhaled deeply, letting go of any lingering stress. In addition to her stretching, Jane started reading a book each night to help shift her mind away from daily worries. She found that immersing herself in a fictional world allowed her to unwind and usher in a sense of tranquility before sleep. It became a cherished ritual, a cup of chamomile tea in one hand, a book in the other, all while cocooned in her warm blankets. However, one particular night, she faced a challenge. After an enjoyable dinner with a friend filled with laughter, Jane found it difficult to fall asleep. She tossed and turned, wrestling with her own thoughts. Suddenly, a light bulb went off. She remembered the breathing techniques she had learned during yoga practice. She closed her eyes, inhaling deeply through her nose and exhaling slowly through her mouth. With each breath, she felt her body sink deeper into the mattress, allowing the weight of the day to dissipate. Eventually, she drifted off into a peaceful slumber. Jane began tracking her sleep patterns with a journal noting how many hours she rested each night and how she felt in the morning. Surprisingly, she discovered that after nights with quality sleep, she woke up feeling more refreshed, energetic, and ready to seize the day. Sleep is not a waste of time. It's a gift, Jane affirmed as she penned her findings. As the days turned into weeks, her commitment to improving her sleep paid off. Her friends noticed how vibrant and lively she had become. "You glow differently now," one of her closest friends remarked over tea. With a chuckle, Jane replied, "Well, sleep is my secret weapon." She also learned about the importance of dreams in her well-being. Jane had often dismissed her dreams as mere thoughts or fantasies, but now she embraced them as a reflection of her desires and fears. Each dream held a little lesson, a gentle nudge from her subconscious, encouraging her to tackle the challenges she faced outside her sleep. Moreover, Jane realized that the ability to get a good night's sleep was closely tied to her emotional state. She made a conscious effort to practice gratitude daily, an illuminating experience that helped her acknowledge the positive aspects of her life. By focusing on gratitude, Jane found it easier to let go of anxieties and drift off into peaceful sleep. With the combination of a consistent sleep routine, healthy evening habits, and a positive mindset, she discovered that the nights equipped her with the rejuvenation she needed to face each day. Jane's normal routine transformed into a magical cycle of energy, self-care, and health, one that reinforced her belief in the power of rest. "I am ready to embrace today," Jane whispered to herself each morning with the satisfaction of knowing she was investing in her health in the best possible way. Spirit and social connections. As Jane continued to nurture her physical well-being, she became increasingly aware of the crucial role that her spirit and social connections played in her overall health. It was during her morning meditations that she recognized the importance of mental and emotional well-being. Being active was just one part of her life. Engaging with others was a vital ingredient in the recipe for happiness. Determined to enrich her social life, Jane decided to take the plunge and sign up for various community activities. She discovered a local art class that piqued her interest. Jane had always admired the beauty of art but had never considered herself artistic. However, the idea of expressing herself through painting felt liberating. "Why not try it?" she thought. "What do I have to lose?" On her first day at the class, she felt a surge of nerves as she walked into the room filled with easels and vibrant paints. However, those nerves quickly faded when she was welcomed by fellow participants, some of whom were also retirees looking to explore their creative side. The instructor, a lively woman named Clara, encouraged everyone to tap into their unique creativity. Jane felt a warm connection with the other students as they shared laughter and stories, igniting her spirit with the joy of new friendships. Each week she found herself looking forward to the art classes. The act of painting became a therapeutic outlet for her emotions. As she dabbed her brush onto the canvas, she poured her heart into her artwork. Bold strokes of color reflected her evolving sense of self. Jane painted landscapes, vibrant flowers, and even abstract pieces that mirrored her dreams and aspirations. Within this community space, Jane discovered more than just artistic skills. She created bonds that filled her heart and soul. After each session, the group would enjoy tea together, exchanging stories of their lives. Jane learned about her peers' journeys and was inspired by their experiences. They shared laughter memories and a sense of camaraderie that transcended age. One day, as they chatted, a gentle question floated from a fellow painter. Do you think that staying connected with others helps us with aging? The conversation turned reflective. Jane found herself pondering the connection between socialization and health, realizing that engaging with others brought fulfillment and joy, especially as they advanced into the golden years of life. Absolutely, she replied, warming up to the subject. When we share our lives, joys, and even our struggles, we build a community that supports us. Another participant chimed in, and isn't it fascinating how laughter can lift our spirits? It feels like medicine. Jane noted the truth in that statement. She found that her laughter shared with friends was not just an emotion, it was a form of healing. Together, they laughed about the small things in life, dancing like nobody was watching in their own homes or misplacing their glasses. The conversations created a chemical reaction within her, flooding her body with happiness. Additionally, Jane was reminded of her family ties, the importance of fostering those connections as well. On weekends, she made a point of hosting family dinners. Her children would come over, bringing their partners and sometimes even friends. The heartwarming chatter around the dining table brought her immense joy, reinforcing her role as a matriarch while creating memories for generations to cherish. However, Jane knew that creating and sustaining connections required effort. She started sending handwritten cards to people in her life, friends from her past family, and even neighbors. The simple act of reaching out brought her a sense of purpose and happiness. Jane soon began receiving replies filled with warmth and gratitude, further deepening her connections. During one memorable dinner, as she gathered her family around the table, they played a game of sharing their favorite memories from childhood. The room was alive with laughter as her children recounted funny stories about their early years. Jane found herself reflecting on her life journey and felt a swell of gratitude wash over her. Those memories reminded her how sweet life truly was and the importance of weaving connections through shared experiences. At that moment, Jane was aware that each relationship she nurtured acted like a thread in a fabric that wrapped around her heart, offering warmth and comfort. She committed to keeping those threads strong, knowing they would sustain her in times of need, both now and throughout her journey ahead. I am not just living for myself, Jane declared to her family as they enjoyed dessert together. I am creating a legacy, a web of love that will continue even when I am not here. The atmosphere was suffused with a feeling that embraced them all, each thread, each connection weaving a colorful tapestry that made up Jane's rich, meaningful life. Spirit and social connections. As Jane continued to nurture her physical well-being, she became increasingly aware of the crucial role that her spirit and social connections played in her overall health. It was during her morning meditations that she recognized the importance of mental and emotional well-being. Being active was just one part of her life. Engaging with others was a vital ingredient in the recipe for happiness. Determined to enrich her social life, Jane decided to take the plunge and sign up for various community activities. She discovered a local art class that piqued her interest. Jane had always admired the beauty of art, but had never considered herself artistic. However, the idea of expressing herself through painting felt liberating. Why not try it, she thought. What do I have to lose? On her first day at the class, she felt a surge of nerves as she walked into the room filled with easels and vibrant paints. However, those nerves quickly faded when she was welcomed by fellow participants, some of whom were also retirees looking to explore their creative side. The instructor, a lively woman named Clara, encouraged everyone to tap into their unique creativity. Jane felt a warm connection with the other students as they shared laughter and stories, igniting her spirit with the joy of new friendships. Each week she found herself looking forward to the art classes. The act of painting became a therapeutic outlet for her emotions. As she dabbed her brush onto the canvas, she poured her heart into her artwork. Bold strokes of color reflected her evolving sense of self. Jane painted landscapes, vibrant flowers, and even abstract pieces that mirrored her dreams and aspirations. Within this community space, Jane discovered more than just artistic skills. She created bonds that filled her heart and soul. After each session, the group would enjoy tea together, exchanging stories of their lives. Jane learned about her peers' journeys and was inspired by their experiences. They shared laughter memories and a sense of camaraderie that transcended age. One day, as they chatted, a gentle question floated from a fellow painter. "Do you think that staying connected with others helps us with aging?" The conversation turned reflective. Jane found herself pondering the connection between socialization and health, realizing that engaging with others brought fulfillment and joy, especially as they advanced into the golden years of life. "Absolutely," she replied, warming up to the subject. "When we share our lives, joys, and even our struggles, we build a community that supports us." Another participant chimed in, "And isn't it fascinating how laughter can lift our spirits? It feels like medicine." Jane noted the truth in that statement. She found that her laughter shared with friends was not just an emotion, it was a form of healing. Together, they laughed about the small things in life, dancing like nobody was watching in their own homes or misplacing their glasses. The conversations created a chemical reaction within her, flooding her body with happiness. Additionally, Jane was reminded of her family ties, the importance of fostering those connections as well. On weekends, she made a point of hosting family dinners. Her children would come over bringing their partners and sometimes even friends. The heartwarming chatter around the dining table brought her immense joy, reinforcing her role as a matriarch while creating memories for generations to cherish. However, Jane knew that creating and sustaining connections required effort. She started sending handwritten cards to people in her life, friends from her past family and even neighbors. The simple act of reaching out brought her a sense of purpose and happiness. Jane soon began receiving replies filled with warmth and gratitude, further deepening her connections. During one memorable dinner, as she gathered her family around the table, they played a game of sharing their favorite memories from childhood. The room was alive with laughter as her children recounted funny stories about their early years. Jane found herself reflecting on her life journey and felt a swell of gratitude wash over her. Those memories reminded her how sweet life truly was and the importance of weaving connections through shared experiences. At that moment, Jane was aware that each relationship she nurtured acted like a thread in a fabric that wrapped around her heart, offering warmth and comfort. She committed to keeping those threads strong, knowing they would sustain her in times of need, both now and throughout her journey ahead. "I am not just living for myself," Jane declared to her family as they enjoyed dessert together. "I am creating a legacy, a web of love that will continue even when I am not here." The atmosphere was suffused with a feeling that embraced them all, each thread, each connection weaving a colorful tapestry that made up Jane's rich, meaningful life. Balance, a critical element of health. With Jane's increasing focus on mobility, strength, and social connections, she soon realized an essential element of her health journey: balance. As she advanced in age, she understood that maintaining balance was vital, not just for physical stability, but also for preventing falls and injuries that could jeopardize her independence. One day, while watching a health documentary, Jane learned that falls were a leading cause of injury among older adults, often leading to a loss of confidence and independence. She could feel a shiver down her spine as various images of seniors struggling to regain their footing played out on the screen. "I need to take action before it's too late," she thought resolutely. To incorporate balance exercises into her routine, Jane asked her friend Clara to join her for morning workouts. Together, they explored different activities that emphasized coordination and stability. They began practicing simple tasks like standing on one foot while brushing their teeth or daring to walk in a straight line as if on a tightrope. These playful challenges ignited their sense of fun and competitiveness. One afternoon, Clara introduced Jane to Tai Chi, an ancient Chinese martial art known for its gentle movements and focus on balance. The flowing transitions and rhythmic motions captivated Jane, and she felt as if she was dancing with the universe. As she learned to coordinate breathing with movement, she found solace within herself. The practice wasn't just about improving her balance. It also served as a moving meditation that helped calm her mind. After each class, Jane would feel invigorated, her body tuned, and her spirit lifted. The instructor often reminded the class, balance isn't just physical, it's also about finding equilibrium in life. Jane pondered the profound wisdom in those words and began to integrate that philosophy into her daily routine as well. In addition to Tai Chi, Jane sought out other activities that challenged her balance. She experimented with yoga poses that required balance, such as the tree pose and Warrior Three. Initially, staying on one leg felt like an insurmountable challenge. However, with consistent practice, she noticed improvement, her muscles developing strength and her mind sharpening with focus. One sunny afternoon, Jane decided to invite her family over for a picnic in the park. With excitement, she challenged them to join her in a mini balance competition. They had fun attempting various stunts, balancing on one foot and trying to walk along a marked line with arms extended. The laughter and playful banter shared amongst family members filled her heart with joy, further motivating her to excel in her balance exercises. However, Jane recognized that improving balance required vigilance. She took note of her surroundings, ensuring the spaces she moved through were safe. Removing throw rugs and keeping floors clear helped eliminate tripping hazards in her home. She wanted her environment to support her efforts in maintaining independence. Moreover, Jane incorporated balance into her daily activities when reaching for items on high shelves. She practiced standing on her tiptoes and using stable furniture for support. Grocery shopping became a balance exercise as she adeptly maneuvered her cart up and down the aisles. Who knew buying groceries could be this entertaining? She chuckled to herself during one of these outings. One day at the community center, Jane participated in a wellness workshop that focused on fall prevention. It was a session filled with information, practical tips, and demonstrations. Between exercises, the facilitator shared stories of older adults who had successfully improved their balance and confidence. Jane felt inspired and grateful for the newfound knowledge. The workshop encouraged her to keep challenging herself, and she felt a surge of motivation. "As long as I'm moving, I'm living," she declared to her newfound friends. With each step she took, Jane reaffirmed her commitment to maintaining her balance both physically and emotionally as she continued to navigate the beautiful journey of life in her 65th year. With every balancing act, be it during her Tai Chi sessions, playful family gatherings, or even at the grocery store, Jane embraced each moment with grace and determination. She developed a profound understanding that balance in all its forms was essential, not just for physical health, but for a more fulfilled, harmonious life. "I am finding my center," Jane whispered to herself one evening, standing on one leg as she admired the sunset from her porch. The gentle breeze caressed her face, and in that moment she felt grounded, rooted in her strength and resilience. As Jane continued to strengthen her body and improve her physical balance, she also realized that emotional well-being played an equally important role in her overall health. The more she explored her physical capabilities, the more she understood that mental health required just as much attention and care. In her quiet moments, Jane began to reflect on her emotions, both the happy and the challenging ones. Some days felt lighter than others, while other days brought a sense of heaviness that lingered. A particularly rainy afternoon found her sitting on her porch staring at the raindrops sliding down the window. In that moment, she decided that being aware of her feelings was crucial. She could no longer ignore or dismiss them. "I need to embrace my emotions, whatever they may be," she said to herself, recognizing that it was time to confront some of the feelings she had tucked away. Jane had heard that journaling could be a useful tool for managing thoughts and emotions, so she decided to give it a try. Digging through her drawers, she found an old, unused journal that had been collecting dust. The next morning, she sat down with her favorite pen ready to put her thoughts to paper. As she wrote, Jane discovered a sense of liberation in pouring her feelings onto the pages. It didn't matter if her thoughts flowed in structured sentences or scribbled fragments. The act of writing allowed her to release what had been weighing on her mind. After a few days of journaling, she began to see patterns in her emotions, the moments that filled her with joy compared to those that caused her anxiety. One particular entry resonated deeply as she wrote about her concerns regarding growing older. She expressed a fear of losing her independence, of not being able to do the things that brought her joy. As she read her words back to herself, she was met with empathy for the vulnerable emotions floating within her. Instead of feeling defeated by her fears, she learned to acknowledge them, allowing herself the space to process her anxieties. In her efforts to cultivate emotional health, Jane also began practicing mindfulness techniques. Inspired by the breathing exercises from her yoga classes, she learned to bring herself into the present moment, whenever negative thoughts crept in. Whether she was washing dishes, watering her plants, or taking a walk, Jane focused on the sensations around her, the warmth of the sun, the gentle rustle of leaves, or the rhythm of her breath. With each mindful moment, she felt her stress dissipate a little more. During a coffee meetup with a friend from her art class, they delved into the topic of mental health and the importance of openly discussing emotions. "It's like an invisible weight we carry," her friend remarked. Jane felt a sense of relief wash over her as she recognized that she wasn't alone in navigating the complexities of her feelings. They both agreed that sharing their experiences not only fostered deeper friendships, but also helped in lifting that weight together. As part of her emotional journey, Jane also made an effort to practice gratitude daily. Every morning, she would note 3 things she was thankful for. These little moments, whether big or small, a shared laugh, a blooming flower, or a cozy cup of tea, reminded her of the positive aspects of life. The ritual became a joyful habit that shifted her focus to the abundance in her life, rather than dwelling on her worries. Jane's emotional growth extended beyond her personal reflections. She also started encouraging her friends to express themselves. At one of their gatherings, she suggested they take turns sharing a memorable moment from their past. As each person opened up and told their stories, Jane observed the atmosphere transform. A deep sense of connection and understanding emerged as laughter and tears flowed freely within the group. Furthermore, Jane understood that her relationships with family were essential to her emotional health. One weekend, she surprised her children with an impromptu picnic at the park. Sitting under the blossoming trees, she encouraged each of them to talk about their week, sharing their highs and lows. Listening to their experiences reminded her that vulnerability was a part of living, and she felt proud to create a safe space where they could freely express their emotions. In her reflective moments, Jane realized that tending to her emotional health was just as significant as caring for her physical body. It was a journey, one that intertwined beautifully with her quest for a healthy lifestyle. The more she nurtured her mind and emotions, the healthier she felt overall. "I am not just body and bones," Jane affirmed to herself one afternoon, gazing at the sunset. "I am a soul who is worthy of love, understanding, and resilience." Through this emotional exploration, she emerged more empowered than ever, embodying the idea that true health encompasses mind, body, and spirit. Nutrition and eating for health, with emotional and physical health flourishing. Jane turned her attention to an equally vital aspect of her well-being: nutrition. She recognized that what she put into her body had a significant impact on her energy levels, strength, and overall health. Following her transformative journey into fitness, Jane was eager to embrace a balanced diet that nourished both her body and spirit. Reflecting on her previous eating habits, she realized that there were rooms for improvement. She used to rely on quick and processed meals, often opting for convenience over quality. However, with her newfound vigor for life, she felt motivated to change and explore a world of wholesome food. "It's time to treat my body like the temple it is," she declared as she headed to the local farmers market one sunny Saturday morning. Walking through the market, Jane was enchanted by the vibrant colors of fresh fruits and vegetables. She sampled juicy strawberries, aromatic basil, and crisp cucumbers, feeling a sense of exhilaration with each bite. Engaging in conversations with local farmers, she learned about the rich nutritional benefits of seasonal produce. Each decision she made at the market not only fueled her body, but also supported her local economy, making her feel even more connected to her community. Determined to incorporate a variety of nutrient-rich foods into her diet, Jane set out to explore new recipes focused on whole foods. She found joy in cooking; it became her creative outlet. On Sunday afternoons, she discovered herself enjoying hours of culinary experiments in her kitchen. One week, she prepared a hearty vegetable stew packed with colors and flavors. The next week, she learned to make quinoa salad topped with roasted veggies. As she cooked, Jane embraced the process of preparing food mindfully. She found joy in chopping vegetables, savoring the scents that filled her kitchen, and experimenting with spices to bring her dishes to life. Cooking is like art, she mused as she arranged her meals on the plate. And I'm the artist. Over time, Jane made a conscious effort to include more lean protein, healthy fats, whole grains, and an abundance of colorful fruits and vegetables in her meals. She discovered that strong, balanced nutrition played a pivotal role in how she felt each day. Energy levels soared, and she felt more vibrant than ever. With each meal, she became attuned to how her body responded. If she consumed more sugary snacks, she noticed an energy crash, while whole foods kept her sustained and energized. However, Jane also learned to practice moderation. She allowed herself the occasional treat, delectable dark chocolate, or a slice of her favorite cake. Life is meant to be enjoyed, and food is a beautiful part of that experience, she reminded herself as she indulged every so often. Her philosophy became about balance rather than restriction. One evening, Jane hosted a potluck dinner for her friends, encouraging everyone to bring their favorite healthy dish. The gathering was vibrant, filled with laughter and the delightful aroma of freshly prepared meals. As everyone shared their culinary creations, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Each dish told a story, an expression of care and love from the cook to those who enjoyed it. During the dinner, Jane took a moment to reflect on the impact of nutrition on her overall health and happiness. She initiated a conversation about wellness, discussing how their dietary choices influenced their energy levels, moods, and day-to-day experiences. The group couldn't help but share their triumphs and challenges, forging a deeper sense of camaraderie. Moreover, Jane made an effort to stay hydrated. She filled her reusable water bottle and carried it wherever she went, reminding herself that hydration was just as crucial as nutrition. She learned that drinking enough water influenced her cognitive function and energy. "Water is life," she would say with a wink to her friends, encouraging them to do the same. As weeks turned into months, Jane found her relationship with food evolving into one of respect and appreciation. Each meal became a celebration of health, creativity, and community. She felt empowered knowing that her choices had the power to enhance her well-being and quality of life. "I am nourishing my body and soul," Jane reflected with gratitude one evening as she savored a warm bowl of homemade vegetable soup. As she took in the comforting aroma, she embraced the realization that her culinary journey was not only about sustenance, it was a pathway that connected her heart-body and the vibrant life she wished to lead. Physical activity and nature walks. With Jane's focus on nurturing her body and spirit through nutrition and emotional well-being, she recognized that integrating physical activity into her daily routine was essential for maintaining her health. She had already embraced various exercises, and now it was time to explore the invigorating world of outdoor activities, particularly her love for nature walks. Every morning, Jane would wake up early to witness the sunrise, its golden rays spilling across the sky. The beauty of the early hours beckoned her outdoors, and she made a commitment to start her day with a refreshing walk in the nearby park. The chirping of birds and the rustle of leaves became her daily soundtrack, lifting her spirits and energizing her for the day ahead. Walking became more than just a form of exercise. It was a therapeutic escape. Each step felt grounding, allowing her to connect with the earth beneath her feet. On days when she felt particularly reflective, Jane would find herself contemplating her goals, dreams, and the things she was grateful for. "Nature has a way of helping me clear my mind," she would think as she strolled along the winding paths. Moreover, Jane discovered that walking in nature offered her a sense of tranquility and peace. One sunny afternoon, she decided to take a different route through a wooded area that she had never explored. As she wandered deeper into the trees, she felt an overwhelming sense of serenity. Sunlight filtered through the branches, casting dappled shadows on the ground. It was as if the forest was inviting her into its embrace, and Jane relished the moment. In the depths of the woods, she noticed delicate wildflowers peeking through the foliage and heard the faint sound of a nearby stream bubbling over rocks. Each sensory detail awakened her appreciation for nature's beauty. Jane began carrying her phone with her not to check messages, but to capture pictures of stunning landscapes or charming little creatures she encountered along the way. One day, while walking by the lake, Jane spotted a group of elderly friends fishing from the shore. Their laughter echoed softly, filling the air with joy. Inspired, she approached them and struck up a conversation. They welcomed her warmth and invited her to join them. Although she had never fished before, the idea excited her. They shared simple techniques, laughter, and the thrill of waiting patiently for a bite. In that moment, Jane felt the power of community and connection once more. These outdoor adventures were not limited to her walks. Jane began joining local hiking groups eager to explore trails and connect with fellow nature enthusiasts. Being part of a group allowed her to engage and share experiences with others who shared her love for the outdoors. With every hike, she felt her strength and stamina increasing, pushing her boundaries further as she climbed steeper hills and traversed rocky paths. Jane also began to incorporate mindfulness into her nature walks. She practiced deep breathing techniques, allowing herself to become fully aware of the sights, sounds, and scents around her. "I am one with nature," she would say softly as she paused to admire a breathtaking view. This practice enhanced her ability to find joy even in the simplest moments and deepened her appreciation for the world around her. Recognizing the importance of movement for her overall health, Jane created a step challenge for herself. She aimed to increase her daily step count gradually. With a fitness tracker, she monitored her progress, celebrating milestones along the way. "Every step matters," she would exclaim to her friends, encouraging them to join her on her quest for wellness. She also challenged herself to explore various terrains and different parks. "Nature offers me limitless adventures." Jane smiled, relishing the fresh air and feeling of freedom. Whether walking along a sandy beach, hiking in a mountainous area, or strolling through a blooming botanical garden, each experience enriched her life and nurtured her soul. At family dinners, Jane shared her newfound love for nature and adventures, inspiring her loved ones to join her on weekend hikes. One bright Saturday morning, they set off for a family hike in the nearby hills, where they spent hours bonding and making memories. Laughter filled the air as they climbed together, shared stories, and captured moments on camera. The more Jane immersed herself in nature and physical activity, the more connected she felt to her body and her surroundings. Each walk, each hike, and each moment spent outdoors renewed her spirit and brought a sense of joy that was both fulfilling and invigorating. It was clear to her that physical activity was a gift she intended to savor each day. "I find my freedom in every step," Jane reflected one sunset as she gazed over the horizon. The vibrant colors of dusk painted a picture of serenity, and she savored the thought that she was embarking on a journey of a lifetime, one adventure at a time, embracing a fulfilling life. Lessons learned. As Jane journeyed through her transformative year, each new experience enriched her understanding of health and happiness. The combination of nurturing her body, mind, and spirit made her realize that her journey was not just about physical fitness or healing. It was about living fully and embracing the joy of life in all its aspects. In the months that followed, Jane reflected on the various lessons she had collected and the strength she had discovered within herself. One sunny afternoon, as she prepared a healthy lunch, Jane took a moment to encapsulate her thoughts. She knew that every choice she made contributed to her overall health, resilience, and happiness. She had cultivated a deeper appreciation for her ability to move, to interact with others, and to nourish herself. Echoing those sentiments, she found herself inviting friends over for a series of workshops where she could share her knowledge. "Let's learn together." Jane emailed her peers, excited to create a space where health and camaraderie flourished. The workshops became a place of sharing discussions on various topics: strength-building exercises, mindful eating practices, the importance of social connections and ways to effectively manage emotions. Her friends, inspired by Jane's journey, participated with enthusiasm, eager to embrace healthier choices and strengthen their bonds of friendship. During one session, Jane led a conversation on the role of gratitude in health. She shared stories of how practicing gratitude had changed her outlook. It's incredible how focusing on what we appreciate can shift our perspective on life, she explained, encouraging her friends to create their own gratitude journals. We can celebrate our victories, no matter how small, and find joy in our daily lives. As the workshops progressed, Jane felt empowered by the ripple effects of her journey. She watched as her friends began to engage in healthy activities, whether it was joining her for walks, trying out new recipes, or even sharing their own stories of overcoming challenges. The sense of community deepened, and they all felt connected in their mutual pursuit of well-being. One winter evening, Jane organized a health-themed potluck, where she invited everyone to bring dishes made from healthy ingredients. The atmosphere was lively and full of laughter as they cherished the food and each other's company. They shared stories of personal growth, exploring the difficulties they had faced in their paths to wellness and the triumphs that came with it. As they gathered around the table, Jane looked around and felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. "We've come a long way together," she said, raising her glass for a toast. "To health, friendship, and the beautiful journeys we've shared. May we continue to grow and support each other." Celebrating and nurturing relationships became a central pillar of Jane's life. She realized that together they could accomplish more, inspire each other, and create a sense of belonging. The idea of community and connectedness became a significant part of her narrative as she entered into her 66th year. Moreover, Jane's journey highlighted the importance of joy in daily activities. She found happiness in small moments, preparing meals, tending her garden, connecting with nature, and indulging in creative pursuits like painting. Each joy became a celebration of life, reinforcing her belief that happiness could be found in the simplest of things. During spontaneous moments of laughter shared with friends, or the comfort of solitude while reading a book, she embraced each experience fully. She understood that every step taken toward health was a step toward a richer, more fulfilling life. And as each season rolled into the next, Jane began to embrace the transitions that life naturally brings. She learned to navigate change with grace, knowing that with each challenge came new opportunities for growth and connection. Age was no longer a limitation. It was a badge of honor that represented her wisdom, resilience, and commitment to living life to the fullest. "Every moment is a gift," Jane whispered to herself one evening as she watched the sunset paint the sky with brilliant hues. The canvas of her life was filled with vibrant colors, each one representing experiences, relationships, and lessons that shaped who she was. In this chapter of her life, Jane wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. She had transformed her approach to health and happiness, evolving into a beacon of strength, independence, and inspiration. With her heart full and her spirit soaring, she embarked on every new day, ready to embrace whatever beautiful adventures awaited her. "I choose joy. I choose health, and I choose to live fully," Jane reminded herself as the sun dipped below the horizon. She had navigated life's journey not through mere existence, but through connection, mindfulness, and heartfelt choices, creating a life resplendent with meaning. The journey of health and connection. As Jane reflected on the journey she had undergone over the past year, she felt a deep sense of gratitude for the transformation she had experienced. At the age of 66, she had embraced not only the physical aspects of health, but also the emotional, social, and spiritual dimensions that were crucial for her well-being. Through her dedication to nurturing all aspects of her life, Jane had woven a rich tapestry of experiences, connections, and insights. The positive changes were evident not only in her physical strength, but also in her approach to life. She had cultivated a sense of resilience that allowed her to navigate challenges with grace. Jane felt empowered to take control of her health, understanding that it was a lifelong commitment rather than a fleeting goal. Each step she took, whether through strength training, mindful eating, or building connections, reinforced her belief in the power of small, consistent changes over time. When meeting with friends, Jane often reminisced about how they had grown together, sharing knowledge and supporting one another through the ups and downs of life. The workshops she initiated created a strong sense of community, providing warmth and encouragement. They had entered a cycle of uplifting one another, celebrating achievements, and offering comfort during tough times. One evening, as friends gathered in her cozy living room for their monthly health chat, Jane felt a profound sense of belonging. They shared stories of success, from completing fitness challenges to exploring new hobbies that ignited their passions. Jane listened with warmth as each person recounted how their friendship had contributed to their health journeys. "Sometimes I truly marvel at how far we've come together," Jane said, her eyes sparkling with pride and affection. "This is what life is about, finding joy in each other and supporting one another to become the best versions of ourselves." The atmosphere turned warm with agreement, and they all raised their glasses to celebrate once again the lives they were creating together. As Jane continued to explore her passions, she discovered new facets of herself. Taking cooking classes not only enhanced her culinary skills, but also introduced her to a variety of international dishes. Gardening became a peaceful haven where she found solace among the vibrant flowers. Painting opened up a form of creative expression that allowed her to convey her emotions onto canvas. Each endeavor enriched her soul and expanded her horizons. One quiet afternoon, Jane strolled through a local craft fair brimming with handmade goods and local art. She marveled at the creativity around her and felt inspired to start a small art project of her own. "Why not?" she thought. "I have so much to express and share with the world." Jane registered for a local art exhibition, setting new goals for herself and rekindling her excitement for life. Through laughter, creativity, and shared experiences, Jane learned to embrace change. Instead of fearing the aging process, she welcomed it as an opportunity for greater growth and deeper connections with herself, her friends, and the world around her. Each chapter of her life brought unique insights and lessons that she transformed into treasured gems in her journey. "Life is truly a journey, not a destination," Jane reminded herself each time she reflected on the path she had traveled. Every day was an opportunity to discover something new, to learn, and to grow. She was not just living. She had chosen to live fully. Looking to the future, Jane never felt alone. She had built a strong support network of friends, family, and community. Each person was a part of her story of health and happiness. Together, they created an environment that encouraged exploration, joy-seeking, and overcoming challenges. Embracing this philosophy, Jane felt happy to be an inspiration to those around her, a woman who not only defies age but lives fully and meaningfully. She understood that health was not merely about exercising or eating well. It was about having meaningful relationships, experiencing new things, and finding joy in every moment. Finally, on a romantic evening as the sunset painted the sky, Jane stepped outside onto her porch. The fragrance of flowers combined with the soothing songs of birds became the soundtrack for her emotional reflection. Standing there gazing at her vibrant garden, Jane silently thanked life for the lessons learned and for the journey she had undertaken. "I am Jane," she affirmed to herself, a strong, independent woman living fully. "I am not afraid of aging, for each wrinkle tells a story of experience. My life is a journey, and I will not stop. I will continue to explore, learn, and love until my final days." With a heart full of gratitude and an open soul, Jane stepped into the days ahead with determination not just to live, but to live passionately and meaningfully. Her journey continued onward, and she knew the best was yet to come.
Thank you for accompanying me on this journey. If you find these experiences and stories meaningful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other useful content. I would love to hear your story. Please share your discoveries and meaningful moments in the comments section below. Every share is valuable, and your story could be an inspiration for another woman who is on the path of self-discovery in life after 60. Let's create a strong and loving community together. Keep your spirit bright and open to all the beautiful things ahead. Thank you for spending time with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next videos.